Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. So I'm Patience, as you know already, and with Authentic Care, I've decided to create a few webinars to support people in a free way and also support people to understand a little bit more about themselves, but also to try some of the modalities that I work with. So I'm now going to share my screen for the presentation. Whilst I'm sharing the screen for the presentation, you're probably going to be able to see me or not, but that's fine. What I will do is I will be presenting, and after the presentation, I'll come for any Q&A in the comments. So make sure you leave your questions. I'm going to share the screen now. All right. So welcome to Generosity versus Self-Love, the webinar. So who am I? I'm Patience. I'm a lifestyle mindset coach, a retreat facilitator, and basically I am passionate about helping women in general. So I want to tell you a little story about this before I start going further. So I've always thought that my son was the catalyst for me starting my business, Authentic Care. But what I've realized, especially including coaching and other modalities in my work, is that really and truly I wanted to honor my mother into what I'm doing. And the way I'm honoring my mother is by supporting other women to maybe be a little bit more vulnerable and accepting that softness is actually the ideal way, and that being the strong woman is maybe not the narrative that we should follow. So I use human design, I use neuro-linguistic programming and emotional freedom technique in my practice in general. All right. So welcome to I Have Been a Good Girl All My Life. So this is basically webinar for women who are nurturers, women who have been either because of society, because of tradition, because of culture, because of the way they've been brought up, being brought up with this narrative of you have to be the good girl. You have to do what is right, and you have to help everybody, and you have to put people's need before your needs. So today we are going to talk a little bit more about that. So when we are a nurturer, I think there is a sense of purpose in being a nurturer, because by helping others, we are creating a society that we are better living in. But at the same time, we have that feeling sometimes that things are not fair, or things that can happen in an unjust way. And that can happen especially when your needs aren't met. And here is the idea. The idea is that being a nurturer is not a bad thing, but is the way that you use this quality, this trait of being a nurturer, and actually use it in your favor, and not in a way that is going to be negative in your life. So a few examples of nurturers. So here I've got Ali Berry, Kate Middleton, Beyonce, Rosa Parks, and myself, because I've been a nurturer, I think, all my life. And for me, and here I can only talk about me, but for me, it's created so much difficulties over the term of my life, because not only on a level of like personal level, but also in career, also in education, in different ways in my life. And I believe that there are qualities and weaknesses, but we can work and have a little bit more of understanding and create boundaries that are going to help us. So in terms of qualities, so nurturers have amazing qualities. There are people that you want in your life, basically, because they support you, they are there to empower you, and they are really kind to everyone in general. Obviously, there are people who are not, but I'm just talking in a general way. So the nurturer is tends to put themselves on the side. So they tend to go for what is needed of them. They tend to be there for others. They tend to be keeping their emotions or what it is that they feel to themselves, and they avoid confrontation. The way they avoid confrontation is to make sure that they don't hurt other people. And in doing that, most of the time, they're hurting themselves. What we need to look at here is in those qualities and in those weaknesses, what it is that you identify with. Obviously, you don't have to identify with everything, and you might not agree with everything I'm going to say here, and that's fine. But you have to have a look at what is happening in your life that is creating this over generous quality in yourself, and not the actual self love and bringing more love to yourself and understanding first. So, I'm going to tell you a quick story here. So my son, one of my sons is 11, and we were sitting at the table, and he was serving water. As we were at the dinner table, he was serving water, and as he was serving water, he served everybody, and he served everybody, and at the end there was no water left for him. So my question for him was, why did you serve everyone and not yourself first? And then he said, because everybody wanted to drink, and that's fine. You can serve others, but what you need to do is you serve yourself first. So we had this conversation, and I was telling him that in the idea is that he needs to understand that in everything he does, he needs to first get to his needs, attend to his need. Because when he took the bottle in the first place, he took the bottle because he was thirsty. So if he was thirsty, why did he not give himself some water first? That's a really simple example that I'm giving you here, but you can see how being a nurturer myself, I've kind of also given those traits to my children. So now, how do you, what can you do to carry on? So I've just put a little bit thing here, because what we need to understand is that when the behavior is in a way that is self-sabotaging, it's affecting your mental health. And if it's affecting your mental health, what's happening is that you're not going to be able to function properly. You're not going to be able to enjoy relationships that you're in, and you're not going to be able to carry on, basically. It's going to create deeper and deeper beliefs that are going to be created into your mind about certain situation. And when you're going to come across little things that will have nothing to do with that situation in general, that will be taking more proportions. And this is here what we want to avoid. So I've got basically 4 steps. And those 4 steps are, first of all, assess your needs. Okay, so what do I mean by assess your needs? Assess your needs because you want to know what it is that you're looking for. So what do you need? So coming back to the example with my son, he needed water. So what do you need? Are your needs met? Do you feel that you feel fulfilled in your relationship? And here, when I talk about relationship, I am not talking about a romantic relationship per se. I'm talking about every relationships. So you are going into a workplace, you want to understand that your needs are met in the workplace by your employer or by your colleagues by your manager, and so on. And it's the same thing in a romantic relationship. What is it you're looking for? So if you know what you're looking for, it will be easier to assess and say, well, actually, this person is not helping me in the vision that I want to create. So therefore, is that person good for me? And if that person is still good for you, but you feel that there is boundaries issues, how do you put the boundaries in place? So you need to do this assessment. The important thing here is to feel respected and to feel that you are understood in your womanhood. Next is choose yourself. Are you prioritizing yourself? And here I'm going to talk a little bit more about the idea of romancing yourself. Do you romance yourself? Do you put yourself first in a way where you feel ultimately fulfilled? Yes, we are fulfilled when we are connected to others, but in yourself, what are you putting in place on a daily basis that is making it that you are feeling happy and you are bringing more of the self-love to yourself? When you feel loved yourself, you have more opportunities to stand up for yourself and then to say, well, this is what I need here, or this is what I'm missing here, or where I'm going to go. So what are you doing? And here I'm going to give you a quick example. So for example, I think it's been a few years now. What I've implemented is like I've implemented activities that I do to really nourish and nurture myself. So if I'm going to be a nurturer to other people, I'm going to nurture myself first. What am I doing to nurture myself? What am I doing to, optimizing this self-love, first of all? And then how can I do more of it? And by doing that, by starting that, it's led me on a journey where I've really enjoyed being with myself. But I'm going to do an actual webinar on dating yourself in a few weeks' time. So I won't go too much into this. But the idea is that, are you acting in your best interest? What are you doing exactly for yourself? Then grieve. The reason why I put grieve here is because in grieving is a spectrum. That's just first and foremost, it's a spectrum. So you can grieve relationships when people are not dead. They can be alive. You're just grieving the fact that this person is no longer in your life. What people tend to do, what tends to happen in general is that people withdraw from the sad feelings. So we want the happy feeling, we want the feeling good and enjoy and everything, but we don't want the sadness. Actually, being in the sadness, or people call it the shadow, being in the shadow is actually where you get the growth. So that's where you really let yourself understand that it is fine to let my feeling go. It is fine to grieve. It is fine to isolate myself for a bit. It is fine to cry. We have been, in general, as a society, but also in a traditional way, cultural way, we have been taught to get on with it. We have been told to keep working, to keep doing, to keep going. But the idea is that in stopping, in resting, in understanding your own feeling, and in actually acknowledging those feelings, there is much power. And that power can only happen if you give it space to happen. And that's why I put grieve here. So remember, grieve is for everything. Could be a relationship, could be a job that is finished, it could be anything. Just allow yourself to sit in your feelings. And to the end, we create the limitations. So let's give you an example here. So let's say I'm going to take a client's example as a case study here. So she was with her best friend for a while, and she was always giving. She was nurturing. She was always tending to a friend's need. When a friend was in problems or there were challenges, she was always there for her friends. Unfortunately, those kind of actions were never reciprocated, or if they were on a 10% versus a 90%. So she started to feel resentful. And because obviously she didn't want to create more issues or more challenges, what she did, she withdrawn. So she went into isolation. So without saying exactly what was the problem or anything like that. And what happened there is that the relationship completely broke. But it was hard for her. It was hard for her because she didn't want to lose her friend. And here is what you can do. So if you are in a relationship where you feel there is not an equal or even a balance, it doesn't have to be equal in everything. So not everything is equal. But if you feel like there is not a balance in terms of like the love you're receiving or the support you're receiving, it is now the time to put in place boundaries, limitations. So be clear about what it is that you expect from the relationship. Be clear about the results of what will happen in a certain case or the other. So for example, if you feel like, if you say to the person, well, this is what I expect of our relationships, are you, first of all, ask for the agreement. Are you understanding what I'm saying? And are you willing to make the effort? If the person is not willing to make the effort, then you can cut off the relationship. Obviously, you don't have to put yourself in that situation. But if the person is willing to do something, but they don't know how to do it, it is it is for you now to go and actually explain to them, this is what I expect from you. Obviously, we don't get everything we want, but as long as you get the commitment and you get the action, it's really important. Verbal acknowledgement and action, they go together. So if you have those two, then you can go in and say, okay, I'm willing to do this, but I'm not going to go over this limit. You put yourself in the right environment. So what do I talk about in the right environment? Whether it is at work, whether it is in your education, whether it is in a romantic relationship, or even with your family, you need to learn how to create an environment around yourself that is positive and that it will conduct that positivity. So when someone coming with negative way towards you or anything like that, it's now for you to put the limit. So again, either way, what do you want from that relationship? So you want that relationship to continue, then you can just politely explain that where this is going is not going well for me. I'm not going to sit in here. Not going to stay in this environment where you are conducting yourself in that way. Now, people in general will be distraught as when they see you take your power and when they see you say what you feel or really stand for what is right for you. And I will say to you, there's no need to be upset or there's no need to create a narrative around that. People like the same thing. So if you've been showing them from the beginning of your relationship that you are a nurturer, that you care for them, that's what they expect of you. So changing from one day to the other that's not gonna happen. So therefore, there will be some bit of like a little bit of tug war, if I can say it like that. So in that case, it is fine. You just have to be prepared and to also say, okay, yes, I want to do that, or no, I don't want to do that. So this is what I have to share here in terms of doing this. I've got a little bit more to share, but I'm going to stop the sharing here to come into the webinar. Okay. So is there any questions? Oh, let me see. Oh, there's no questions. Have you got any questions about what I said or anything you want to ask me in terms of what you can put in place specifically? I'm just going to wait. You can type your questions into the comment box. If you don't have any questions, it's fine. You can also put no questions in there. I'm going to wait a little bit. Okay, I have one. Yes. Yeah, send me the question. Just you can write the question here. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So so I'm just going to read the question. So the question is, someone said that I was a giver because I am secretly manipulative. I have thought about it for years since. What do you think about this? Okay. So there's two options I will say here, because I can see a few options. First thing, it could be that this person has got their own their own belief system, their own perceptions that they've created in their mind, and therefore seeing you as a giver or having you being generous, it threatens that person. And therefore, they feel like they need to create, like, not even create, but I would say give a title to what it is you're doing. So it is really easy when we see something in general, when we see something that we're not really accustomed to, when it's not something that we do in general, it is really easy to go in and to say, well, actually, this person is doing that, so they must be doing that with an ulterior purpose, an ulterior motive. And in general, when people feel that way, is because they don't see themselves as doing it, doing what you're doing. Therefore, it must be because you're doing it, because you want something. Now, there's another way as well. It could be that that person is a narcissistic person, and that person is trying to make you second guess yourself and second guess your motives or what it is you're doing, your purpose, and things like that. There are many, there could be many, I would say there could be many answers to this question, but I would love to discuss this a little bit more with you, if you don't mind. And have a little bit more details about the whole situation. But basically, those two answers are the ones that are coming from me. So either the person is a narcissistic person, what they want is to create doubt in your mind and for you to feel like, instead of feeling like you're doing something good, feel like, oh, am I doing something good because I'm looking for that? And I'm going to say something. And if you were looking for something, what is wrong with that? So what? If you were looking for a certain outcome, so what? So the main purpose of connection, of human connection, is because we want something from the other person. So if you were wanting to have something from someone else, then so what? That will be my other take on this. Okay, so and we have another question. So first of all, does that respond your is that a response to you, or do you want to give me details, or do you want to have a call with me? Just put it in the comment, and I will talk to you after the call, after the webinar. But basically, what I want to say is, so what? I think is the best question or best sentence ever. So what? If you were looking for something, so what? That's the purpose of human life. Like at the end of the day, we are human. We are here in this realm, and we need to connect with people, and we're connecting with people for a purpose. Okay, so what examples do you do for self-love? Okay, for self-love, there are different things. So I told you at the beginning that I work with EFT tapping. The reason why I work with EFT tapping is because it really helps to shift emotions or to shift pain, in a way that goes from the negative to the positive. The reason why this has been a daily take in my life is because for things that have been fears, things that have created doubts in my mind, beliefs that I've created in myself for various reasons, since I've been a child, um, tapping on those points with the acupressure points, it supports me. And when I'm doing the affirmation, it supports me into understanding that this has happened. I'm accepting it. Because I'm accepting it, I am then able to release it. When I release it, I've got space. That space means that I can sleep better at night. That's what that space means. So basically, that's what that space means. And what we want is we want more of the peace within ourselves, more of this being unable to carry on. The idea is that in general, people are carrying their problems, their doubts, their challenges with them at all time. And when you release those, you feel freer. You are happier to go. You can do things easy, and you take action really quickly. So I would say practicing EFT tapping has been amazing for me. Other things that I do, well, there's like I was saying, I'm going to do another webinar on this, but there's the dating yourself. So in the dating yourself, there's a different level, but basically that's what I do. I create space for myself in different ways, whether I want to romance myself, whether I want to create this orgasmic realm around me. I'm doing it for myself. Whether I want to create love, I'm doing it for myself in any way possible. And I think the more you do that, the more you take that ownership of not only your self-love, but really feeling and going on a deeper level in terms of your excitement, things you want to do. Like I know there's someone here that loves dancing that I can see is a participant here. She loves dancing. And I think it's ecstatic because what happens when you dance, you are vibrating in those high frequencies, and those frequencies, they create more love in your body. So those are little things you can do. You can dance, you can dance, you can sing, you can meditate. There's so many things you can do, but the main idea is, what am I doing to create um, a happiness for myself? I think it will be that. And in that way, there are so many ways that you can include. There's so many ways. So you don't have to be with a partner. You could be with a partner. You could be anywhere. But it's, how do you bring that joy into your life on a daily basis? And I would say on a every time basis, the idea is. So here, when we talk about self-love, in general, there's like a term of like, I'm gonna, everything is amazing and life is fantastic and this, that, and no, that's not what we're talking about here. Self-love is where the boundary is being created, and we are saying, well, you know what? I love myself enough to know that I'm no longer needed here. I love myself enough to know that what this person is saying is only their own projections they're projecting on me of themselves. So it's creating that undoubtful vibration in your mind, in your spirit, and in your body. So there's and when I said body, I just thought of something. So when I mention body, so for example, for someone who is looking to lose weight, for example, for someone who's looking to lose weight, they've got a relationship with food that is difficult to break away from, isn't, because they created all this belief around that food, and that food is now a full part of their osmos, or their life. What what do you think uh, is going to create a change in the way they're going to eat? So if you're eating in an emotional way, and you're eating because something upsets you, and you're eating because of that, do you think this is creating a healthy relationship? It's not. When you are eating in enjoyment, you find that when you are eating in enjoyment, you find that you would not put on weight. Why? I'm going to give you that example. So basically, in the last years, for most of everybody that is here, I think they know me, I've put on weight. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not been wanting to diet. I'm not looking to diet. I'm fine with being as I am. I think I just need to exercise for health purposes. But what happened is, over the Christmas period, I was off. Because I was off, I decided that I was gonna go all out, and I cooked a big cookout, and I ate so much food. I don't think I've even ate as much food in the last 2 years, but I ate so much food. I was such in a state of enjoyment, of fulfillment, of happiness, of relaxation, of peace within myself, that actually I did not put on weight 1 gram. And this is a perfect example of when you are doing things that are really serving, that are nourishing all the part of your body, your mind, your spirit, it's not going to create something harmful for you. If anything, it's going to create more of what is good for you. So coming back to the webinar, what are you creating on a daily basis? How are you creating things? How are you supporting yourself so that you can be in that realm where your mind, your body, and your spirit are in perfect harmony? Okay, so I'm going to go back into the I don't know if is that a good answer for What example do you do for self-love? Let me know. Oh my gosh. There are more, I didn't see them more common. As a natural, I can find it hard to accept help. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good one. Oh, thank you. Definitely. But they want it. Yes, exactly. And I think that would be the case in that sense. So as a natural, I can find it hard to accept help or ask for help. Oh yes, that's a really good one. So with that, there's so much I could go on about this, because it's really like ingrained into this narrative of the strong woman and the woman who can do everything. So once you can do everything and you've been able to be, I don't know, I will take my example. So be the chauffeur, be the cook, be the worker, be the lecturer, be everything. That's it. So at that point, you are fulfilled. No, this narrative is gone. It's like non-existing. I think it was serving people at some point, and I will even talk about my parents. I think it served them, because in a place where they've come, like for example, where they left Africa and they came to Europe, they were in a state of survival. So they needed to be there, everything. They needed to be everywhere and have all those roles. That was like survival of the fittest. And I think that this is created barriers and it's created challenges for the generation that came after. And even talking about my parents, they were fed this kind of narrative from before as well, from the ancestors. And this is something that we need to understand. So obviously, we have to take the good that comes from our ancestors, the generational, um, the generational heritage is amazing, and we should really look at nurturing that way. At the same time, there are things that we should look to cut down, and we should look to implement more of, I would say, strategies in our life where we can support being less of the strong woman and the strong woman narrative, because it hurts people being that person. Your needs are not met. So now, on a practical way, what can you do on a practical way? On a practical way, I would say you should start with one thing. So if, let's say, let's say on a professional level, so you're working in a place and people, there's quite a staff team, there's people around you. The idea is that in all the tasks that you have to do, what are the tasks that you can do yourself? What are the tasks that needs to be done by yourself? And what are the tasks that actually, whether it was you or someone else, it could be done? Those tasks, I would encourage you to delegate them to other people and start asking for help in that way. You can start really slowly with, can you photocopy this for me? I know it's nothing, but the idea is that you're building the muscle. So what are you doing at the beginning? You're going to do something small, and then you're going to incrementally upgrade it. The idea is that if you want to make space for yourself, you need to really make space. The reason why I was talking about EFT tapping before is the release. So if I'm releasing, I'm relinquishing that whatever habit or whatever things that is around that. So how do you relinquish more? Even if it's a little bit you start, but how can you relinquish some of the grasp that you have on something? That would be how you're gonna ask for help. And then receiving help, I think receiving help is the same as receiving thanks or receiving compliments. It's really difficult to receive when we've been told that we had to be that way. So because you're that way, because let me explain properly. So because you are a certain way, or because you've grown up to be the person who does it all, it is expected that you're always going to be like that. So when you are, say, someone comes to you and say, "Can I help you?" What you do is that you go like, "Oh, I'm done. I don't need no help. I can do it myself already." It's like someone saying, I used to have that. "Oh, Patience is so amazing what you're doing." I'm like, "Oh, really? Is it?" I don't think it is, because my expectation of myself was too high. We need to lower the expectation. There's no need to have a high expectation and to think, "Oh no, I need to accomplish this before I'm allowed to get help, or before I'm allowed to get compliment." So what I will say is, next time someone says that they want to help you, you say yes. If they don't do it as you wish, because there's also that problem, if they don't do it as you wish, accept it that way. By accepting it not being done properly, you already opening up the threshold of how you're going to be accepting later. And nothing is really perfect in life. So we just have to really go with the flow and accept the imperfections. I don't know if that's an answer for you. Let me know in the comments. Okay, all right. So I'm going to go back into the recording. So I'm going to be honest with you, because, I have to be honest. So the reasons to the webinar is also to tell you a little bit about what I do and the program that I've got coming up. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it in here, in the share. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Got it now. All right. So thank you for waiting. So next. So Unset the Mindset. Unset the Mindset is a program that I created to support women in releasing the barriers and open up to the opportunities. And here I want to give you another case study. So basically, I worked with this client, and she's married. She's married. She's married, but in an unfulfilled relationship, and because of cultural or traditional background, she decided to stay in the marriage. However, she also had relationship on the side with someone. I do not judge, I don't criticize, I just support my client in what they do. So I'm just explaining the situation here. So then what she was looking for in that relationship was actually a the love that she wasn't getting from her husband. And when I started working with her, I was telling her that even the person that she was with was not a good person for her, because he was basically using the situation she was in and the way she felt vulnerable to his advantage. So in all of this, what we talked about was where does this idea that going from a relationship where you're not fulfilled and then going into another relationship where you're not fulfilled creates this idea of, oh, that's amazing, that's the life. It doesn't. And not only it doesn't, but then it really focuses, I mean, it shows that the person has a deeper issue than the marriage that is not fulfilling, or not issue, a deeper challenge about that. And then as we were unlayering the onion, as I call it, um, we realized that our parents' relationship were not that great either, in terms of like the role modeling of what they were showing. Then she was looking for love in an unhealthy way because she never really had it in a family. So then that created another layer, as even though she never shared any of this with her daughter then starting having promiscuous relationship. So the reason why I created the Unset the Mindset was not particularly for that client, but it was so that we can stop bringing our beliefs as baggage with ourselves over and over and over again, and keep creating this loop of same problem, same problem. So I'm gonna leave it there for that client, but yes, it's sometimes what happens over and over again is not a lesson. A lot of people say, oh, if you haven't learned the lesson, then it's going to keep on coming. It's not the lesson, it's the belief. If you haven't learned how to set that belief apart and to understand, why did I create this in my mind and how can I get away from that, that's when you create the loop. Okay, so Unset the Mindset is basically a program that rewires your subconscious mind. And then you're able to be more in tune with yourself, and then you can do more for yourself. Okay, there's three focuses, three core focus. So the beliefs, which are the fears and all the doubt, everything we've created around ourselves since we've been born, and even since we've been unborn, as in when we've been in our parents, our mom's belly, and then the dreams, how we create the dream, the actual life that we desire. And then we finish by anchoring. It's a 3-month program that has been created. And it's the 3-month online program to reconnect with yourself and to gain clarity in your journey, in your personal growth. So the 3-month is at 905 only. And then if you want the VVIP option, the VVIP option comes with a retreat. So we do the program for 3 months, and then we end with a retreat of 3 days where we go away and we really deep dive into what it is that we need to uncover. So those are the two options. If you want to book a free call, please do. If you want to email me to ask me more details about anything, please do. It will be amazing to have that. And thank you so much for being here today. I hope you will come again to my webinar. So let me stop sharing and see what's happening there in the comment. Oop, no. So yes, so we've come to almost the end of the webinar. I want to say thank you so much to you all. Obviously, you can come in contact with me. So today I'm showing you the Unset the Mindset, the program. But if you need any other support, I'm there to help you in any way. You can just contact me. And obviously, all of you will be signed up into I think, the mailing list. So if you enjoy the newsletters, just keep receiving them. If you don't enjoy them, unsubscribe. Like, there's no worries about that. And yeah, so I want to say thank you so much again, and I want to say I hope to see you soon and speak to you soon. I'm just gonna wait a bit for if there's any comments. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Right. So I'm gonna leave you now. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, thank you very much. And I hope if it was really helpful. If there's any thing you want to ask me question about, don't hesitate. Yeah. Instagram, Facebook, or my email address, and I will contact you. I will talk to you. You take care. Bye.